Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, I want to talk to you about how PMDD can take over your emotions. So if you have premenstrual dysphoric disorder, I know that every single month you may get into this place where you feel like PMDD has just taken the wheel on your mind, on your emotions. And, when you try to get help for that, because one of the biggest ways that my private clients try to say that they want to manage their PMDD is they say, I just want to be able to learn how to control my emotions. And you can hear something on the outside looking in and say, you just need to let it go. When you have, those things that I always talk to you about, that bitterness, that resentment, that unforgiveness, just let it go. And what I always say is, what does that look like? So today I'm going to teach you of what that looks like. So when you feel like PMDD is taking over your emotions, it's taking over your mind, it's taking over how you feel about your partner. It's taking over how you're thinking about the relationships. You're going to be able to have the tools of what you can do about it. And I know that I really struggled with this. And the biggest thing that I struggled with in my past relationships was offense. And so I remember getting out of this last relationship and saying, I really want to work on myself. I want to become unoffendable. The reason why I said that is because it had such a hold on me, meaning every single time my partner would say or do something to trigger me, I would get offended and it would keep me stuck. It would literally make my PMDD symptoms worse because I would be holding on to anger. I would be holding on to bitterness. I would be holding on to resentment. I would be holding on to unforgiveness, and they were fine. And it actually was like a slap in the face because here I was feeling horrible about the relationship, feeling horrible about my partner, and they were just living their best life. They had let things go. They let it roll off of their back. And I remember thinking, they must not care. If it's not bothering them as much as it's bothering me, then that must mean that they don't care. They don't really care that I'm hurt. They don't care that I'm angry. But a lot of times with partners, they feel a little bit helpless. So what I want to tell you first off with partners is they may act like they don't care, but they really do care. Like that's one thing that I know from having so many private sessions with partners. It may look differently to them. Meaning they may act like they're being nonchalant. They may act like they're not triggered. They may act like, they're not bothered, but they really are. When the vibe is off, when the mood is off, when things are off with you, when you're triggered at them, when you're mad at them, they are bothered by it, but some of them cannot be in a place where they can handle it. So they choose to avoid it. So it's this internal struggle that you can't see from the outside, but inside they could be going through turmoil because they're walking on eggshells. They're not knowing what to do, what to say. So they're just kind of like winging it. And they're feeling like no matter what I say, no matter what I do, it's always going to be a problem. It's always going to be a trigger. I remember a past partner was saying to me, everything's a trigger with you, because every single time I was triggered, I would go to them and say, I'm triggered because you did this. I'm triggered because you do that. And I no longer do that because I learned going to my partner about the ways that I'm triggered doesn't stop them from triggering me. I needed to understand within myself. I needed to manage it within myself. I needed to manage my own emotions and my own ways that I was triggered. I needed to process process it. My partner could not process it for me. And I will tell you the same thing. Your partner cannot process your emotions for you. That is a personal responsibility that you have to do. You have to work on what you're triggered about. You have to work on why you're triggered, because a lot of times you're triggered because of something that happened in the past. You're not even triggered with your partner based off of what they've done. They've triggered something within you from a past experience. That's what a trigger is. It's triggering an emotional response from something that happened to you before. And sometimes it's what happened in the relationship that you're in before. And sometimes it's what happened with childhood. That was what happened with me. I have abandonment. I have neglect. I have abuse, verbal and physical. I have so many things that I know that I can get triggered by. And I had to take that personal responsibility to really look inward and just say, you know what? When I'm going into relationships, these are the list of things that I know that I could potentially get triggered by. And it's not the other person's fault. They're not the ones that abused me. They're not the ones that neglected me. They're not the ones that abandoned me. And it's my personal responsibility to manage that. When I know, you become self-aware enough to know, okay, these are the potential triggers that I have. And your partner needs to be doing the same thing. They need to be doing the same work and say, okay, I've had exes that have been cheated on before. So they had to know that when I'm going off and I'm, cause I'm a free spirit, I'm an Enneagram 7, I'm a Sagittarius, I'm all over the place, right? I'm always doing a million things, and that's just my personality. And for someone who has been cheated on before, that can trigger their insecurity, because they can say, oh, you're going to a concert, you're going by yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going by myself. Because I can literally go out to an event, and I do it all the time, and I can just meet people there. I can have fun by myself. Like, I don't need to be with a lot of people in order to have fun. If you follow me on Instagram, where I vlog my journey every single day, you can see where I'm going out, and sometimes I'm spending time with friends, sometimes I'm spending time alone, but I love to do things and I don't require other people to do them. But for someone that's been cheated on, that can be considered a trigger, because like, who are you going to meet? And I think it's next month, I'm going to Mexico. And then a couple months, I'm going to Phuket. I'm going to Thailand, and I'm always traveling. And I remember exes will always be like, who are you going to meet there? Do you have friends there? And I'm like, no. They're like, who goes on vacations by themselves, or who goes and they're not going to meet with somebody? That's suspicious. No, it's not really suspicious. It's suspicious to you because you've been cheated on, and maybe the past person that you were with went on a vacation and they cheated on you when they saw somebody else. That has everything to do with you and nothing to do with me. And I say that with love, because it's a personal responsibility. I am no longer taking the weight of what someone else has done to a partner. I've done that before. I've thought, maybe if I change myself, maybe if I change the way I communicate and I stop doing the things that I love to do, maybe they'll feel more secure. No, they're going to feel more secure when they work on being more secure. That is what you have to recognize. You have to work on you, and your partner has to work on themselves. You both have to be personally responsible for your emotions, and you cannot do it for them. You cannot take on the burden of doing the emotional work for them, because a lot of times when I'm working with the private clients and we're doing the work, we're digging deep into your past, and your partner wasn't there. Your partner wasn't there when you were born. Your partner wasn't there when you were a child. Your partner wasn't there in all of these other relationships where they have these triggers. Only they were there. And for you, only you were there. So when you find out that you're triggered by something that your partner has said and done, zip it up. Do not go to them and raise your hand like you're in class and say, I have to tell you about the ways that you trigger me. No. This is when a lot of my private clients come to me. And I always tell them, if I said in between private sessions, you have my email. If something comes up during the month, we need to have a session. We need to have a strategy session on how we're going to deal with your emotions so that you don't take it out on your partner and do damage in the relationship. Because going to your partner with your emotional baggage that comes up in PMDD and your triggers is only going to make them feel worse, because they cannot heal you. Your partner does not have the capability to heal you, nor does your partner have the responsibility to heal you. This is something that you personally have to do. And that's why I'm here, because I know PMDD rips the blanket off of a lot of triggers that you may have. And there's always this misconception of, maybe PMDD just brings up things that I really have an issue with my partner. And I don't like when people say that, because it's almost like you're taking the responsibility off of yourself and putting it on your partner. And if you're a partner and you've been my private clients, I've got your back just as much as I have the partner that has PMDD. Because I've seen both sides. I've literally had partners on a weekly basis come on private sessions, break down crying, emotionally distraught, because they're carrying the weight, the burden of their partner who has PMDD, their emotional triggers, their baggage. They're carrying it in addition to their own emotions. Matter of fact, they're not even dealing with their own emotions because they feel like they don't have time, because they're always dealing with yours. So how can your partner be in a position of managing their own emotions if they're so busy trying to manage yours too? That is not their responsibility. It's not like, oh, I'm being in a relationship with someone so that they can manage my emotions. No, 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 no. You're being in a relationship so that you can combine your life with someone and enjoy life and go through the hard things in life together. You're supposed to be strengthened by you're doing the work on you, they're doing the work on them, and then you come together with the best versions of yourself. And if you're in a place where you need support, you absolutely get support. Your partner can support you in managing your emotions, but they don't have to take on the burden of doing it for you. I've had partners that have like, oh, I'm going to pay for the private sessions for my partner. That's the way that they're supporting you. It's like, babe, I support you going on private sessions to dealing with whatever's coming up for you. I'll watch the kids while you're going on those private sessions. I'll make space for you to go on the private sessions. I will listen to the tools that you got from Dr. Rose, and I will encourage you and remind you and help you implement them, but I'm not going to do it for you. And I advise partners to not take on that responsibility because they get into a land of burnout. It's not sustainable. If it was sustainable, I would say, yes, go in there and remind them all the time and do the work for them. And every time that they're feeling triggered, I want you to stop what you're doing and go pay full attention to them and heal them. No, 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 no. It's not sustainable, because what's going to happen is when they get into this caregiver role, they're going to get bitter. They're going to get resentful. They're going to become like a parent to you. And when they become like a parent, it's not cute. You don't want to sleep with your mom and dad. You're changing the dynamics of the relationship when you're putting the responsibility of your partner to manage your emotions. Now they're a teacher, a parent, a caregiver, a grandma, a grandpa. So there's this nurturing aspect to it. So you may feel supported, but it messes with the intimacy, because now they don't feel like they're dealing with an equal partner. They're feeling like they're dealing with another child. Versus you're working on yourself and you're saying, babe, I just got off the session with Dr. Rose and we talked about this, and I'm really going to work on this. You know, if I'm doing something that triggers you, can you just remind me, because I'm really working on this? And they're like, yeah, absolutely, babe. Like, I'm proud of you. Partners become more hopeful, not helpless, in a PMDD relationship when they see you doing the work. And I will tell you, it is work. I will never tell you that it's going to be easy. I will absolutely tell you that it's worth it, but I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, I can wave a magic wand and then all of a sudden you're never going to be triggered by your partner again. That's false advertisement. Anybody that's telling you that is anybody who's telling you that they can literally take away your PMDD emotions. Be very, very cautious of that, because emotions are human. They're human nature. It's human nature to have emotions. And a lot of times when you're looking to say, I want to cure my PMDD, I want to get rid of my PMDD, you can get rid of your PMDD. But I will tell you this, the traumatic events that have happened within your PMDD relationship will not go away. And this is the biggest shock for individuals who have had the oophorectomy, or they're on continuous birth control, or they're on SSRIs, or they're on some kind of medication or some kind of medical journey where they're trying to delete PMDD from their life. Here's what I want to remind you. Everything that happened in PMDD, it sticks with you until you deal with it. So you can absolutely get rid of your PMDD moving forward. Meaning you may not have future things happen within your PMDD relationship because maybe your emotions are more manageable. I believe you're always going to feel the emotions, but maybe just not the sting of it, right? But here's the thing, everything that has happened in your relationship, and I guarantee you it's traumatic, because PMDD and trauma are very interconnected, you still have to deal with that. You still have to rip the blanket off of all of the things that you've covered up, off of all of the things that you've tried to deal with, but you never fully got there. You know how you go into a conversation and you try to deal with your issues alone, one-on-one, which I do not suggest, because you end up re-traumatizing each other by saying more hurtful things. And the truth of the matter is, you're not meant to deal with this on your own. You're not trained to deal with this on your own. And I'm not asking you to. No one is telling you. It's like if you had cancer, no one is telling you to implement chemotherapy on yourself. And you may say, oh my gosh, Dr. Rose, it's cancer. And yeah, oh my gosh, it's PMDD. If you have PMDD, you know how that feels. And no one is asking you to heal yourself, to process it on your own, to deal with it on your own. I don't want you to do more damage. And that's why, because I've been in that place where I've tried to do it on my own before I got the tools, before I implemented the tools. I tried to do it on my own with other methodologies that worked only in my follicular phase. And it did not work. It worked in my follicular days. It did not work. It absolutely did not work when I was in PMDD. And what ended up happening was I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought maybe we're not meant to be. Maybe this works on everybody else, but it just doesn't work on us because we're not supposed to be together. No. The tools that you use within PMDD is very strategic to PMDD. And so some of the ways that PMDD is really taking over your emotions, taking over your mind, and just getting you in that place of feeling stuck, of feeling like, oh, I don't know what to do. Every month I'm having these highs and lows, is the emotional instability. You're having these intense mood swings. Now, it's one thing to be triggered by your partner and you're irritated by them in your, follicular phase, but you kind of just let it brush off of you. You're like, oh, okay, they did this. I didn't like it. They left the toilet seat up, or they slammed a door, or they left something out. How many times have you made up a story in your mind about why your partner has done these little things? When you're in PMDD, small disagreements or everyday issues, they feel overwhelming. You can have an intense emotional response. This used to happen to me in the car all the time. My partner make a comment, and a lot of times these comments could be about like another person. Oh my gosh, this used to happen. They would make a comment about a coworker or a situation that they had, and I would immediately start defending the coworker. Why did you say that about them? That's so rude. Now I'm starting to question my partner's character, like they're a rude person. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that they would talk about this person like that. And they're like, I just made this comment. Like, why are you even defending this person? And it got to a point in my journey where I had to recognize, because I had a pattern of doing it. My partner would get off of work and start complaining about coworkers, and they did this and they did that. And I'm starting to go to the defense of the coworker. Well, maybe they did that because of this, and maybe they did that because of that, or maybe you're blowing it out of proportion. I was invalidating my partner's feelings because I was in PMDD. And so the next thing is the irritability and the anger. Here's what I want you to know. Irritability is a common symptom of PMDD. You're going to be irritated by your partner when you're in premenstrual dysphoric disorder. When you're in your luteal phase, you are absolutely going to be irritated with them. You may find yourself snapping at them over minor things. You're going to be easily frustrated. The irritability, the anger, the rage is not the issue. It's what you do with it. When you find yourself getting irritated, it is what you do with it, how you respond to being irritated by your partner, how you are triggered by your partner. And I've learned this, with my daughter, especially with homeschooling. Homeschooling is not for the faint of heart, right? I know I have some private clients that are homeschooling the little ones. I started homeschooling my daughter in 5th grade, and now she's in 10th grade, about to go into 11th grade. And, there's this funny reel on, I think it's TikTok, and it's like when you're trying to teach math to your kid and you're getting irritated, and it's like, if Johnny took 5 apples to the store and then he comes back and he pays for this, how many apples does Johnny have left? And then they're like freaking out with like steam coming off of them because their child doesn't understand. You're going to get like that. You're going to feel like intense rage from things that your partner does. It's a symptom of PMDD. It's the emotional dysregulation. What I mean by emotional dysregulation is your emotions are not proportionate to the event that actually happened. Meaning your emotional response to your partner is not proportionate for what they actually said and what they actually did. This is a symptom of PMDD. Stop trying to defend it. It's nothing wrong with having PMDD rage. I don't want you to feel like you're a bad PMDD partner, that you're a horrible person because you have PMDD rage. It's actually a symptom. Going back to the cancer thing, because cancer is like a widespread disease that people, it's commonly known. So it's easier to talk about where people understand. If you have cancer, you go through chemotherapy and your hair starts to fall out. That is a symptom of the chemotherapy because of the way that the chemotherapy then is attacking the neurons in your brain and the cells in your body to kill the cancer. It's causing your hair to fall out for some people. You shouldn't feel bad about yourself if you're going through chemotherapy and your hair starts to fall out. The doctor will tell you that is a symptom. When they go and tell you the risk of having chemotherapy, they're going to say one of the risks is your hair's going to fall out. If you've gone to anybody who has diagnosed you with PMDD, or maybe you diagnosed yourself because it is self-diagnosable, just understand rage is a thing. You're not a bad person. I don't want to say you're not special. You're special to me, but what I mean is it's not just you. You're not alone. And I know when you can think about, but Dr. Rose, you don't know how bad I went off. Go back and listen to my podcast episode. Maybe I should go name them or something because I can tell you which number to go back to. When I told you, when I went off on PMDD rage, I kicked my partner out of the car in the middle of the night in the cold rain because I was having a PMDD rage episode. It's before I had the tools, right? That's what I did. I'm not proud of it. I'm absolutely not proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it because I have come to terms with that's a wake up call. That was a wake up call for me. That was basically like, yeah, I can't just go off of, I can't wing it every single month. That's what I was doing. I was winging it like a hope and a prayer. Like, man, I really hope I don't go off on my partner this month. And I did. Hoping and wishing is not a tool for PMDD. Hoping and wishing that you don't go off on your partner is not a tool for PMDD. That's not managing your PMDD. Toxic positivity and saying PMDD is not that bad. I don't mind PMDD. It's brought so many amazing things in my life. That may be a thing, but at the end of the day, we have to come to terms with how traumatic, how horrible, how disgusting PMDD can be. Because I've also gone into the realms early in my journey of the toxic positivity. Being like, oh, everything's great. It's not that bad. And I'm like dying inside, like sliding down a wall, crying at night. That's not managing your PMDD. Avoiding it, pretending that you don't have it, denying that you have it, saying, maybe I don't have PMDD. And then you start Googling some other things that you could potentially have. I get it. No one wants to have PMDD. And yes, you can absolutely Google a whole bunch of things that can tell you, because PMDD has so many symptoms. Yeah, you can tell yourself you just have anxiety. Yeah, you can tell yourself you just have depression. Yeah, you can tell yourself you just have misophonia. Yeah, you can tell yourself you just have ADHD. Or you could have all of those things, which is PMDD. And the sooner you come to terms with that and not blame your partner for it and just know that this is a thing that you possess, the sooner you can start managing it. And the next way that PMDD can really take over your emotions is you can start feeling overwhelmed by, relationship expectations. It can make it seem like everyday responsibilities are too much for you. You can feel like I can't deal with myself and my partner. I used to say this all the time. I can't deal with my emotions and my partner. It's too much. I should just be single. It's too hard for me to deal with everything that my partner has going on, because your partner is going to need emotional support sometimes, but PMDD will make you feel like it's too much for you. Like there's no way you can handle a partner and meeting their emotional needs. You're hanging on by a thread yourself. And you could be like, facts. I should just be single. And the next way that PMDD can take over your emotions is increased sensitivity to rejection. Rejection sensitivity is something that every PMDD sufferer will experience at some point in their relationship. You're going to feel rejected by your partner. This has even happened with some of my clients who don't have childhood trauma or past, history of it. You just feel rejected. You're going to interpret comments and actions from your partner as, like, oh, they're criticizing me. They're blaming me. They're shaming me. They're not interested in me. They don't love me. And I'm not saying this lightly. You'll genuinely feel that way. Like you'll genuinely feel like, I don't even think they're attracted to me. I just walked past them in the best thing that I could put on, and they didn't even look up at me. Because your partner didn't look up at you, they're not attracted to you. They don't love you. They don't want to be with you. They're probably looking at their phone at somebody else. They're probably messaging that person that they're looking at on the phone with somebody else. They're probably going to work talking to somebody else. They're probably more attracted. But this is how your mind can spiral. Because you're feeling rejected because you walked past them and they didn't look up. This is what can happen in PMDD. And the next way is one of the things that I talked to you about before was that distorted thinking, where your partner says something and it's like that black and white thinking, that catastrophizing. We're either all in or we're all out. You either love me or we need to be single. You have a fight in your relationship. Oh, we should just be single. Like it's so extreme. Instead of you just saying, not even saying we had a bad PMDD month. We had a bad day in PMDD. We had a bad moment in PMDD. We had a bad fight in PMDD. You're like, and this is why we shouldn't be together. This is why we need to I need to take the kids and the dog. I need to go find a place to stay. You got your Zillow app up and you're like looking for homes and looking for what the cost would look like for rent. You're getting an Airbnb for some of my private clients that have had sessions with me from an Airbnb because they've left their partner because of that distorted thinking. And then I will always ask them, have you talked to your partner about any of this? No, because I already know, Dr. Rose. I already know why they did what they did. So then I have a private session with their partner and I get their side of the story about what actually happened. And a lot of times the story that you made up in your mind, the perception that you made up in your mind, what do I always ask you? Was it malicious? A lot of times they didn't maliciously do it. Did they do it? Yes. Did they do the thing? Yes, they did the thing. But did the thing mean that they were trying to maliciously hurt you? No. You just thought that. It's distorted thinking. Again, it is a symptom of PMDD. This is not a blaming and shaming you. This is a making you aware of what PMDD can do to your brain and how it can control your emotions. You need to be very aware of that because then you can feel yourself when it's happening. I have to use mantras. I use mantras all the time, and I'm working on something for you that's coming out in November that's really going to help you. It's really going to help you. It's going to help your partner. But you have to recognize when PMDD, listen, think of it like a car. If you do not control your PMDD brain will absolutely control you. You cannot go into PMDD and not be in full control of the wheel of your brain. You need to stop taking your hands off the wheel and just say, whatever PMDD tells me must be true. PMDD is not your friend. PMDD is not your friend. PMDD does not want you to be in a relationship with your partner. I need you to, I'm probably going to be saying this on every episode to remind you, or just for anybody that's new, that's just picking up the podcast. PMDD does not want you to be in a relationship. And so when you allow PMDD to take control of your emotions and you start feeling anger and bitterness and resentment, and you're just going with it and saying, yeah, that's what they deserve. And you're trying to punish your PMDD partner for things that they've said and done that's triggered you. You're letting PMDD take the wheel. You absolutely will end up in a place way further than you want to go, letting PMDD take the wheel. So I'm going to give you some tools about what you can do about it. Be selective of what you are believing in PMDD. That's number one. Be selective of what you are believing in PMDD. When you find yourself being triggered by your partner because of something that they did, remember, they're going to trigger you. They're going to, make you feel irritable, angry. Not a problem. That's not the problem. Be selective when that little voice starts telling you, yeah, they did that because of this. And how dare you let them talk to you like that? You're letting them walk all over you. You're being weak. Like, don't be weak. You need to go back off on them. Don't let anybody talk to you like that. That is the ego. And PMDD absolutely will use the ego and make you feel justified in going off on your partner and not even feel bad about it. You'll be like, no, I don't feel bad about going off on my partner. They did this, this, and this, and this, and this. Yeah, they did those things, but did they do them maliciously? Stop trying to punish your partner because of that little voice that's telling you, yeah, they deserve it. Yeah, get them back. Shut down on them. When they try to come over and apologize to you, don't talk to them. Don't say nothing to them. Don't give them that love, affection, attention, validation that they want. No, they don't deserve it. That's not unconditional love. If you're making your partner earn the things that they can only get free from you, that love, attention, affection, validation, stop it. That is supposed to be freely given within your relationship. At the end of the day, you know how they say at the end of the day, you're choosing to be in a relationship, and there's a level of responsibility in that. That means you're choosing to love your partner. You're choosing to forgive your partner. You're choosing to work through the issues that you have, or else what are you doing? Why are you there? This is what I don't understand. Why be in a relationship with someone if you're going to act like you're not in a relationship with someone? Why live in the house with them like you're roommates, sleeping in the same bed, turning your back towards them, not being affectionate, not having intimacy, not talking to them, shutting down on them? You're punishing yourself. That sounds horrible. I know it doesn't feel good to you, and I know it doesn't feel good to your partner. So what are you doing? Either make the choice to be with your partner, meaning you're leaning in and be loving. If you're my private client, you know that's one of my most powerful tools. You need to lean in and be loving. And by loving, a lot of times that's forgiving, letting that wall down. And if that's something that you need help with, this is why I have my strategy sessions. You know, I have the pyramid program, which so many private clients are really taking advantage of. And what the pyramid is, it's one session with you, one session with your partner, and then we have one session together where I give you both the tools. This is to allow your partner to really talk about everything that they're going to in a way that doesn't trigger you. You're able to talk to me about the things that is going on in a relationship where it doesn't trigger your partner. And then I'm able to customize the tools that I give you together. So go to inlovewithpmdd.com and look for the pyramid. It's called pyramid. You'll see it under where it says work with me. And those are those 3 sessions. And they're so powerful because if you find yourself stuck where you're consistently stuck, it's like going over a speed bump, but you keep going backwards. Like you can't get over that hump. Every single month, you're like, we can't get past this. We can't get past a month without fighting and arguing. Like we almost did, but then we don't. We almost did, and then we don't. We have hope that we will. We're in our follicular days. We're loving, we're cuddling. We're like, oh, this month is going to be so much better. And then it's not. And then it's horrible. And then it's worse. Get that pyramid session because a lot of times I have to get to the root of what's going on with the both of you strategically and then customize those tools for you. So the next tool is when you catch yourself thinking about the things that your partner has said and done, ruminating over them, intrusive thoughts, meaning when I say intrusive thoughts, they're intruders. A lot of times I don't like to use a lot of psychology terms without breaking it down for you. An intrusive thought is like an intruder that's coming into your home. You did not ask for them to be there. You don't want them there. You don't like them being there, and they're there. And when you find yourself ruminating over those intrusive thoughts, one of the things that I say with my private clients, is there another way we can look at this? Can we assume, like think about how bad you feel right now when you're feeling rejected by your partner, and I'm absolutely validating your feelings. You can absolutely feel rejected. And I will have you process that. What does that feel like? It feels horrible. Where does that take you back to? Your childhood, your past relationship where you got cheated on, your past relationship where they lied to you. Okay, so now we know where that's coming from. Is it a possibility that when your partner did this, insert whatever they did, is it a possibility that it wasn't malicious? Could it be that when they were looking up or looking at their phone, is it a possibility that they weren't texting someone else, that they weren't ignoring you, that they weren't rejecting you, that they weren't abandoning you, that they are attracted to you? Is it a possibility that they are attracted to you and you just felt like that in that moment? And there's no shame in that, but I just want you to explore the possibility that your partner may not have done that on purpose. Did they do it? Absolutely. Again, we're not going into the blindness. We're not ignoring things that they did. but is it a possibility that they didn't do it on purpose? Can you give them the benefit of the doubt? What kind of person are you with? Because remember, you chose this partner. What kind of person are they? And I'll have you describe what kind of, are they a cheater? Are you in a relationship with a cheater? Are you married to a cheater? Are you married to a liar? Are you in a long-term relationship with a cheater and a liar? Is this the person you chose? Did you choose to be with somebody who does this? Is this their character? And you'll be like, no, Dr. Rose, like they're a good person. Okay. Let's run with that. Let's believe that they're a good person. If they're a good person, is it a possibility that they made a mistake? That they were having a hard day at work and they're just doom scrolling on their phone? And you're like, well, yeah, okay. This is the way that you have to challenge your thought. You cannot just go off of everything that PMDD is telling you. It is a liar. PMDD is a liar and it's an accuser. It wants to accuse your partner of doing this, accuse your partner of doing that, accuse you of doing this, accuse your partner of doing that. So I want you to be selective with what you are thinking and the ways that you're thinking about your partner. Change how you think about your partner if you want to change your attitude towards them. A lot of times the biggest thing that does a lot of damage in your PMDD relationship is your attitude. When you feel triggered, your attitude gets nasty, or you get disconnected, or you get anxious. And you know what happens in those situations? Your partner can feel that. And guess what? Guess what, babe? It doesn't feel good. And you can't hide it. Please don't think that you can hide how you're really thinking from your partner. They're connected to you. That's why it's called an intimate relationship, into me. And the more you try to hide your emotions from the partner, the stronger they can feel it, the more damage that's done. Just be open and real with yourself. This is why I want you to do the inner work in the sessions with me, because you can't hide it from your partner. And until they feel safe and secure, there's going to be a barrier between the both of you. When you start to get in that realm of having that nasty attitude or shutting down on them and they can feel it, they no longer feel safe. This is when they're walking on eggshells. They don't feel safe anymore. When they do feel safe, a lot of times I'll have private clients message me, email me, because I'll say, let me know how things go. And they'll email me and be like, Dr. Rose, I just went over there. And then all of a sudden it was so much easier. We had a good time together and I was so shocked. And I didn't even have a conversation with them about anything because they felt the shift of you releasing that bitterness and resentment, that negativity, that unforgiveness. When you release those things in the sessions with me, you don't have to do anything with your partner. This is why I can work with only one partner and there's a shift in the relationship. They can feel the difference. Your energy is so powerful, especially when you're in PMDD. It's so powerful. You can go in a room and shift the atmosphere by not having the weight of all of this negativity, this bitterness, resentment, unforgiveness on you. And your partner will automatically just lean in and be loving because they feel safe to do so. They don't feel like you're about to snap on them. That's the powerful aspect of having these sessions and releasing it. Releasing it. And then one of the ways that you can do this is choose what you focus on. When you feel bitter and resentful, make a different choice. This is why I have you always, write down positive things about your partner and not like, my partner's smart, my partner's beautiful. No. Like actual things that have scenarios with them. Because your subconscious brain is going to feed off of what you tell it. So if you're in your mind, you're thinking, my partner's horrible, my partner's that, okay, then they're going to be horrible. You're choosing to believe that. You need to choose a different belief about your partner if you want to be with them. Because again, I'm going to say it again. If you're choosing to be in a relationship, you're choosing to lean in. And you need to be digging yourself out of that. And stop punishing yourself and your partner by staying in this place of being stuck. To get unstuck, you have to make a different choice about how you're thinking about your partner. When you make a different choice about how you're thinking about your partner, it's going to change how you feel about your partner. And when I tell you, there is nothing more powerful than dropping that wall and your partner feeling that intimacy. They're going to feel so safe. You're going to feel so loved. You're going to feel so cherished. You're going to feel so supported. A lot of times when you're asking for your partner to be more supportive, this is all they need. They need to be in a place where they feel secure enough to be supportive with you, where you're not going to be blaming them and shaming them for saying that they're doing it wrong. They're waiting on you. So ask yourself that question. Is it a possibility that my partner is just waiting on me to be loving again? Waiting on me to forgive them, waiting on me to give them the things that they fell in love with in the first place? Because again, you both chose each other for a reason. Why are you with this person? Really think about that. And if you're in this place where you're like, Dr. Rose, I'm hearing you. I want to do this. I want to make this shift. Go get those sessions. I would strongly suggest, if you're my private client, get the pyramid sessions. And if you're not my private client yet, then I would say go on a strategy session, because that means I need to go in. It's like a triage. I need to figure out what's really going on so I can start customizing just one session with you and your partner, either or the both of you, either or. And I just need to triage. And by triage, I mean, I need to see exactly how PMDD is affecting your relationship and where we need to start to do the work. And a lot of times we always need to start to do the work with uncovering those past traumatic events that have happened in the past. And then we can move forward. Until we have fixed what happened in the past, it's very hard to move forward, because the past is always going to follow you. It's just a thing. It's good until you heal it and process it and deal with it, both of you, then it's always going to be there. So if this is something that you know that you need help with, go to inlovewithpmdd.com. We got this. Love you. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is, if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start Workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things, so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship, so you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.